And now we will go to another important factor, which could be resource revolution, as it was in the 70s with the invention of automated machine that collects empty beverage containers. This was the beginning of Norwegian company Tomra, and the vice president for governmental affairs at Tomra Systems, Anna Sapota, is now going to show us we need to rethink what we do, how we behave, and how we consume. Anna, welcome here. I hope you can hear me. I'm sorry for the connection. I'll try to work on that while you have your presentation. So welcome here, and let's listen to how do you want to make it, because you have huge plans to recycle 40% of the post-consumer plastic packaging worldwide by 2030. But also you have some news from a study made in 4 countries that people are not really that easily changeable when it comes to their thinking and behavior.
Good morning. Hello. So thank you very much. Thank you very much for the invitation for today. It has already been inspiring to listen to other speakers, and I'm very happy that I will have a pleasure to share some of our thoughts and experience on circular economy and responsible production and consumption. So today, I would like to talk to you a bit about the packaging in circular economy and about the consumer behaviors regarding the packaging and the purchases of different products. So I would like to start maybe with I would like to start with the introduction. I would like to say a few words about Tomra. So yes, we started in 70s with the innovation, which was a machine, reverse vending machines for automated collection of used beverage containers. But now we are providing the optical solution for RVMs, for automated collection of used beverage containers, but also for the sorting activities in waste, food, and mining industry. So we are, of course, very interested in resource revolution. We are very interested in how the situation regarding the resources, regarding the plastic will develop. And we are very fascinated with the idea of circular economy, which we perceive, yes, as an economical opportunity for the market players to develop new ideas, to create new possibilities for future development, but also to find the answer for the lack of resources, which can show up very soon. So let's have a bit of the background. So we live in an age with the highest level of consumption our planet has ever seen. Not only the products we buy, but the packaging they come in. The middle class is growing, online shopping increases not only the amount of products, but also the amount of packaging in use. And we think that less consciously about our purchases as shopping has become so easy and convenient. So as a result of this consumption, we currently use of 1.5 planets every year. This is unsustainable in the short and long term, and we need to address the issue of declining resources today. So take as an example the average beverage container. Until recently, society has not thought much about what happens to bottles after we use them. We put them in the trash or recycling and never think about them again. Unfortunately, many of these containers are ending up in our oceans, streets, and landfills. So let's take the example of plastic bottle. Every minute around the world, 1 million of plastic bottles are bought. Less than half of them will be ever collected for recycling. We as Tomra collect on a yearly basis 40 billion of the containers, and it is only about 2.5% of all the containers sold on a yearly basis. So we see the scale. And due to this fact, we wanted to see if the consumer are ready for a change, right? Here, the Charlotte, who was talking before, she said that Denmark people are already woken up and they are ready for the change, aware of what will happen. So we wanted to check a bit similar thing in some societies to see how conscious we are and how ready for rethinking of our approach we are. So we asked Kantar to survey 4 countries, UK, Germany, France, and Norway, and they asked 4,000 people, 1,000 in every country, about their resources and habits. And now I would like to show you a bit the results and also the conclusions we made out of it. So 63% of German respondents stated that they have not changed their personal consumption of resources during the corona crisis. Yes, one important thing which I did not mention. We asked them about this last summer. So during the corona crisis, because we also wanted to see if this situation, the pandemic situation, will be additional trigger. So in Germany, they stated that no, but at the same time, in UK, only 36% of the respondents confirmed that. So it means that almost 70% of people have changed their consumption habit. And what they were resigning from, because this was the main response, we had to resign from some things. Clothing, travel, out-of-home dining. These 2 last are quite obvious for all of us after 1.5 years of continuous lockdown, right, that it was simply not possible. But 23% of cases, people were resigning also from food purchases. So this is something quite interesting. And 85% of all people believe that it is time to rethink how to handle disposable packaging. And this is something we dig more into. Because more than half of respondents thinks that groceries should be packed in less plastic than they are now, even now in pandemic times. And respectively, 75% of Germans, 72% of UK people, and 71% of French respondents said that they already avoid plastic when they are shopping. So we can see that this 3/4 maybe is already woken up. And at the same time, many people are not prepared to pay more money so that the goods can be produced or packaged more sustainably. In France, 50% of surveyed rejected additional expenditures. In UK, 49%, in Norway, 45%, in Germany, 47%. So more or less half are not ready to pay more. Across all the countries, the older the age group surveyed, the less willingness to pay more. So this is something which is also very important, that even though the society is ready to maybe change the habit, and they are doing so, resigning from plastic packaging, resigning from some maybe convenience of during making their shopping and consumer choices, they are not ready to pay more. So we, being business, probably have to think how to address this issue, how to produce in more sustainable way, but also how to not transfer the cost of these changes into consumer. And the participants in the study in Germany, France, UK, Norway also seem to see enormous potential, and with an overwhelming majority, 94% of all respondents agreeing that the topic of recycling will become more important in the future, or at least not lost its importance. And this is what was extremely interesting and important for us, that the society see how necessary it is not only to make more responsible choices at the moment when they are starting with the consumption process, but also how it is important then to do something about the waste we produce, right? And a modern recycling infrastructure can help ensure that the potential of recycling becomes reality, because it motivates consumers to actively participate in the cycle. So conscious consumption combined with a high recycling rate. These are, in our opinion, two factors together that can make enormous contribution to the resource revolution that we need for a sustainable future. So what we done as Tomra, what we have done. Last year, we announced publicly the creation of our circular economy team, and their main goal is to think on how we as Tomra can contribute to circular economy and how we as company can make the transition, and also to how we can support our clients and the society in this transition, because we also know that it's not one company change, it's not one consumer change, right? It's not one country change. We all have to face the fact that the rethink phase has to be as widespread as possible, and our goal is to help in this transition. And also by doing this, we made this public pledge you have made mention that we will collect and recycle 40% of the post-consumer plastic packaging worldwide by 2030. And this is something we would really want to contribute to, especially that now more or less 14% is what is collected and recycled for recycling purpose worldwide. So there is still a very long way to go. Okay, and from my side, this is it. Thank you very much for hearing me and having me here. And if there are any questions, I'm happy to answer.
There, Anna. Thank you. Thank you very much. I must start with this really ambitious goal you mentioned that Tomra wants to collect and recycle 40% globally. So how backup bottles? What's the way? How to change the behavior of people?
I think that there are a lot of tools, and we are sure we will not be alone in realizing this pledge, that we need the support and cooperation with our other stakeholders, other companies, and we are doing so. Last year, we announced a big project with Borealis, who is the plastic producer, where we will work on recycling the materials which are not so easy to recycle, because we also have to admit that this plastic bottle, which I mentioned at the beginning, now it is one of the easiest plastic to collect and easiest plastic to recycle. We have deposit return schemes where we as Tomra are present in all deposit schemes in the world, and the best of them are reaching 90% of the collection rate, meaning, 9 out of 10 bottles put on the market is coming back in Sweden, and soon in other countries. There are the producers like Coca-Cola who are already introducing the plastic bottles made 100% out of recycled material. So this is possible, and it's happening. Much more difficult, and this is something we are trying to concentrate on, are, for example, the foils, post-consumer foils, all these small wrappings, which it's not easy to collect, it's not easy to sort out from the waste stream. It's not something we will sort at home. So this is why we think that the cooperation among the various stakeholders on different moments on how the waste packaging is collected, sorted, and then recycled is necessary. And we try to create the possibilities to work with all these stakeholders.
And as you mentioned, it also differs in different countries, and also the study you've cited mentions that. And there is a question: any explanation why the British are more conscious about their consumption than Germans or Norwegians?
Honestly, my feeling is that it was due to the pandemic, because you have to remember that last summer it was very strong, strong first wave of pandemic in UK, while in other European countries it was still, less painful. And the feeling was, or at least our interpretation is, that due to the fact that it was so strong in UK, they had to reduce the consumption. And on the other European market, it was not so visible. Honestly, I'm very curious what would be the answers and the perception now when we have, 1 year experience and various countries had, the second, third wave, which developed totally differently than this first experience in, spring last year. So this is my feeling why there is this difference in consumption, because simply the German market at that point was not so much still triggered by Corona as it was in UK.
Okay, yeah, we need time to measure it again and get some longer row of numbers to have the proper study done. According to the study you've mentioned, 85% respondents believe that it is time to rethink how to handle disposable packaging, but are not prepared to pay more money for that. So who will bear the cost?
Yeah, I think that first of all, this is the question a bit on how we will try to solve the problem. Because I think that this is the question for the companies: try to change their business models and try to change the way how they produce the product, right? Because and it does not need always to be reflected in the price, or in the future it should not be reflected in the price. If we are talking about innovation solution, probably yes, it will be difficult because we will bear a big cost at the beginning. But sometimes it's a question if we really need a packaging for certain product, or if we need so much packaging for the certain product, right? We have this big discussion on EPR, extended producers responsible schemes around Europe, and about the eco-modulation when we talk on how costly it should be to put certain products in certain packaging on the market. And this is something which the producer should rethink, right? How much we have to place the packaging, how necessary it is for consumer, and how necessary it is for example, protection, because for some products it's obvious that the packaging is needed primarily for the protection of the product itself. That's why we have to use it. But still there are these schemes of reuse which are still underdeveloped in Europe, and this doesn't, in my opinion, it does not must mean that it will be more expensive of the consumer. But yeah, this is the challenge for us, for business side of the market.
Yeah, but when I would come back to the consumer side, it kind of shows the gap between the aspiration and reality when it comes to living more sustainably in everyday life. Will this change with the new generation?
Yes. Yes, we see that the general outcome was that the older people are surveyed, the less willingness to pay. However, in the group above 60s, there was a slight change, meaning that they were slightly more willing to pay more. So there is this, we see that usually, and it was also visible in the research, that for this, the most willing to change were younger people in all the aspects. When we were saying, are you ready to resign from the packaging? Are you ready to pay more? Are you ready to change your habits? Usually these younger groups were more willing to change their consumption habits. And I think that it's not rather shocking for everyone. The older we get, usually the more difficult it's to change our habits, right?
So to conclude, what needs to be done to move towards conscious consumption and high recycling rate?
I think that the cooperation must be done, and we have to see global attempts and global cooperation, not only in Germany, not only in Nordics, not only in Europe, but it's a work on towards global goals, because the problem is also global. So, and we have to see how the various stakeholders in the supply chain and in the distribution chain, they start to cooperate to find for the solution which will be acceptable for the consumers, but on the other hand, which will help us to work more sustainably, to live more sustainably.
Anna, thank you very much. That was Anna Sapota. So the conscious consumption combined with a high recycling rate, these two factors together can make an enormous contribution to the resource revolution that we need for a sustainable future, and we need to cooperate on that globally. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you very much.